Hello and welcome to the On the Slate movie podcast. We are your hosts, Wesley,
Jason,
and Asher.
And on the slate for today, we will be deep diving the 1998 DreamWorks classic, The Prince of Egypt. Let's get to it, fellas. All right, fellas. Like I said in the intro, The Prince of Egypt is the topic of conversation for today. And so when we all watched it this past week...
I didn't watch it.
You didn't watch it?
I didn't watch it.
Okay.
I did watch it.
You literally said you watched it. Anyway, Jason, what is your experience? Is this the first time watching it? Have you watched it when you were a kid?
The last time I remember watching it, I think, was at art camp years ago, and they played it during lunchtime.
You went to art camp?
Yeah, I went to art camp.
Art camp?
Did
Art
you
camp.
was it a week long stay away from home camp?
It was a week-long go for the morning, get picked up at lunchtime type art camp. It was still in town.
Yeah.
And they would play it during lunchtime. The reason they played it was because the whole week was themed on Egyptian art. So obviously with us being like very much in Egypt, they played this movie. And so, yeah, that's like honestly the last time I think I have seen it. So this, you could almost say like this is pretty much maybe like a fresh watch for me in a lot of cases, which I enjoyed. I enjoyed it a lot.
Great.
Yeah.
What about you, Jason?
I'd seen it a bunch. I've seen it a couple of times, mostly as a kid. And honestly, I think the last time I saw it, I was like 12 or 13. So it's been a while. But I really liked it then, and I really liked it just now.
Nice.
And I think it's better. I just have a greater appreciation, I think. But we'll get into all that.
Yeah. And this is, I think, maybe the fourth time I've seen it. I've seen it 3 within recent memory, but I've seen it once, I think, when I was little. I was only like 1 when this movie came out, so
I wasn't even born.
I didn't see it when it came out.
I wasn't even born when it came out.
I was -1.
I was +1. Dang, I'm old. All right, well.
You said it, buddy.
I'm not that old, all right. So this is a really famous DreamWorks project. I mean, I feel like in the popular culture now, it's maybe not as enduring of a legacy maybe as some other movies, but this, I mean, if you just look at this film and like who's in it, I mean, it's kind of a big deal. You had guys like Steven Spielberg who owned DreamWorks. I don't think he actually got any credits for the movie, but he did have some sort of say and influence in how it went. By the way, I know the very ending scene when Moses is holding the 10 Commandments, that was apparently in by Steven Spielberg's insistence. So
Really?
at the very end. But anyway, we'll get to the plot points here in a minute. But yeah, I mean, you've got just a lot of really famous Hollywood stars like Sandra Bullock, Michelle Pfeiffer, Ray Fiennes, Val Kilmer, Patrick Stewart's in it.
Jeff
Goldblum. You have Martin Short and Steve Martin. That's a lot of star power. Even like in today's culture,
those names still hold.
Yeah, I just saw a Ray Fiennes movie come out like a couple weeks ago, and 28 years later. I mean, I still think it has a lot of staying power in that regards. But yeah, basically, if you don't know, The Prince of Egypt is an animated movie that came out in 1998. It's a musical, and it follows the story of the Exodus and from the Bible. So like Moses, how he, as a baby, is sent in a basket to escape from the decree of the Pharaoh, to kill all Hebrew boys out of a fear of like one man uprising and, overthrowing the Pharaoh. His mother sends him in like a basket down the river in hopes that he would find somewhere to be safe, and ends up washing up right at the Pharaoh's palace. And he's raised as a prince of Egypt, which is a very, very unique story. And Yeah, I mean, this is, I think, an important story for the three of us, like the biblical story, right? Like we both believe like that's a historical event, and we love learning from it. But adapted to a film, especially a musical, is kind of ambitious, and the fact that they brought in a lot of Hollywood star power for it, I think, actually kind of helps. But even as good as the performances are, I think there's so many things that make this movie great. And we're going to break it down. So,
yes,
not in a dancing form, but we'll break the movie down.
We'll break it down.
I was ready to dance.
Well, Jason will dance for you guys.
Oh,
you just said you were ready to. So,
but no, not so.
I think I did have a lot of nostalgia for this movie. Like I grew up watching it as a kid, but when I returned to it a few years ago, watched it as an adult. After not seeing it for like a couple decades, probably.
Yeah.
It was, I was just surprised in like how good it really is.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times, you look back on the movies from your childhood and you're like, oh, that, that's for the kids.
Okay.
No, this one actually holds up really, really, really well. So
I did that with Journey to the Center of the Earth with Brendan Fraser. Remember that?
Yeah.
The live action remake. I watched it when I was older and I was like, okay. Visuals, that dinosaur does not hold up well. That CG dinosaur.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, man.
I always think about the lightning striking at the beginning of the movie before they fall into the hole.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, no. I just think about that scene a lot.
He thinks about it a lot. Yeah. So I think there's... what makes this movie so great, I think, is it's so grand in its scale. It feels like an epic, not just like, oh, that's epic. No, like an epic, like the genres, like these massive set pieces, characters, the classical themes of the rise and fall, or the redemption, or the fall, tragedy, all of these classic themes that you read about, which, I mean, the Bible has a lot of these themes in it. So, it's kind of built in there for you, but I do think the movie does a great job of executing it on the screen in a way that everybody can enjoy, I mean, I don't think you need to be a Christian to enjoy this movie or be Jewish to enjoy this movie.
Yeah.
But I do think if you do fall into one of those categories, I think that it probably is even more so impactful.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do think it's just it doesn't apologize for what it is. It has very, very good themes to it that are, deal with more serious topics like death, like tragedy, like the fall of man. But it also has stories of redemption, things you can root for.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we're going to break all these things down.
I'm excited.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
So this kind of like first act of the film really sets the stage for Moses and Ramses like being really close, like being brothers, really good friends. You kind of see them rolling through through Egypt on their chariots, like kind of racing and messing around with each other. I think, it does a good job of intentionally putting these two characters together to make them feel like they're close, which is actually something the Bible doesn't really do. It doesn't really tell you much about the relationship between Moses and Pharaoh on a personal level. So they did take some artistic license with that, which it says at the beginning of the film, this is based off of the Exodus. We took some historic and artistic license for the sake of the movie, but you can find the real story in the book of Exodus. So you should probably read that first. And go by that as your source of history and not the movie.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it is still a really good movie. So yeah, they're kind of going through this race throughout Egypt. And I thought that was a pretty well-directed scene. They basically wreck this entire statue of...
the nose gets knocked off, which my question is the nose getting knocked off foreshadowing for Ray Fiennes and him being Voldemort?
I don't think so. I don't think so.
Oh, Ray Fiennes wasn't cast in the first Harry Potter, was he?
I don't know.
Because Voldemort's on the back of that dude's head. I don't know if that's a person.
I thought that was just a reference to how like the Sphinx or whatever.
It is. I think Asher's just making a joke.
Yeah.
It's funny though. Like the body part that gets knocked off is the nose.
That is true. And I don't know if we mentioned, but Ray Fiennes does the voice of Ramesses, who is at the beginning, he's not quite the pharaoh yet. He's the son of the pharaoh.
He's the prince.
But he is the prince of Egypt is named more so for Moses because he was the prince of Egypt. But at the beginning, yes, Ramesses was also prince of Egypt.
Yeah.
And so they get it. Also like makes a mark to make it look like a smile.
Oh yeah,
on the statue. So anyway, there's like this whole scene sets up like how they're kind of troublemakers, but they have a strong brotherhood and friendship, and the emperor, not the emperor, the pharaoh kind of talks to him, who's voiced by Patrick Stewart.
Really good.
He says, "I don't know if you're ready to do this. You're too reckless." All of these things, and it kind of sets up a lot of the trajectory of the character, a lot of the motivations behind Ramesses, because he feels like he will never be able to like truly live up to his father. He'll always be the weak link, I think is a phrase he uses.
Yeah, that was the through line.
So that's kind of like his motivation for a lot of things throughout the movie, is wanting to be seen as powerful, as a strong leader. So on the flip side, Moses, he's more of like a humble guy. He just but he's kind of ignorant to the suffering around him. So he just wants to be friends with Ramses. Like that's his best buddy, and he's enjoying the life of Egypt. And soon enough, both of their lives radically change as eventually Ramses becomes the pharaoh, and Moses learns of his true identity. He's a Hebrew man, not an Egyptian. So he's actually learns that his people were a lot of the young boys of his people were killed by the pharaoh. So he has this whole revelation moment of like, oh, actually, I'm not really a prince of Egypt, and I'm an outcast. I'm really just like the slave. And Moses' heart is actually really split in this movie. He's a very complicated. He goes through a lot of complicated things. Yeah. He has to deal with. It's a very effective like first act of the movie. What would you guys say?
I mean, within the first act, I think just the opening sequence is just a banger opening sequence, and just does a really good job of setting the tone for the movie. And it's we kind of touched on it before we started recording, but it's geared as a family film, but they don't shy away from like trying to show the reality of slavery and the reality of the Pharaoh's oppression on the Hebrews in like the medium of this film. And it's like, okay, this is not your this ain't
Sunday school.
Yeah. Like it's just like done very tastefully.
Yeah.
And for me, like I could feel the weight of the oppression and like just the emotion. So yeah, like just the first act within the first, or just the first sequence within the first act is just like awesome. Really good.
Oh yeah. The Deliver Us song, by the way.
Probably my favorite.
Yeah, it is a musical, but it's not like every scene is a song. There's like maybe 5 or 6 songs throughout the movie. But Deliver Us might be the best one. It's just
so good. Like
you said, it sets the stage for a lot of the movies. Like these Hebrew people are crying out to God to deliver them from oppression and slavery. So, and that's one of the key themes.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I kind of just piggyback off of Asher here. I agree. It's like you turn on the movie and it opens with this really like powerful sequence. Yeah. And I know we're going to talk about the animation probably later, but the animation too of, the way I just think of that shot of the old guy who falls over and he like reaches up in his hands in front of the sun. It just looks so good, dude.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I was like, when I was watching that, I think I watched it like Wednesday night or Thursday night, something like that. Really, just a couple days ago, and I remember seeing that scene. I'm like, in for a tasty treat.
An animated visual treat.
And I don't actually like really like that many musicals. I like La La Land, and then that's it. But I really enjoyed this movie. Maybe it's because it's like I saw it as a kid, so it's like all the songs are like something I would sing as a kid, or try to sing. I don't know.
Little Jason just running around singing
Deliver us. But I mean, I liked it. I wasn't bothered by it. Normally, I'm like annoyed because like the music stops whatever's going on in the movie, and I feel like that's my problem with a lot of musicals. And that's not really the case here. It's just the music, like literally in the opening sequence too. It's just like you're going from seeing the Hebrew people being driven as slaves, and then you transition into Moses as a baby. Like the story's still moving, right? So the music isn't stopping the story. So that's why I like that. That's when I can enjoy a musical, I think.
Yeah.
And I think the songs really are thematically rich. You know, I think they really serve the story as a whole and kind of help you. They kind of channel kind of the themes of like what the movie's trying to get across to you.
Yeah.
And deliver us.
So good.
You know, that line, deliver us to the promised land. That's, I mean, a huge theme. Like that's the main theme in the Bible, you know, in those first couple books. It's like that promise that God makes to Israel and the Hebrew people that they will be delivered from slavery to the promised land. And, you know, there is a lot of characters. Like, I think it could be good to bring up Aaron, Moses' brother, and Miriam, Moses' sister, as well in Act 1 and their roles. So they briefly meet Moses after Moses kind of has this altercation with this woman named Zipporah.
Yeah.
She's kind of brought to entertain the Egyptians, you know, as, you know, a foreigner who's basically a sex slave. It's kind of what they hint at in it, you know. Again, this movie does address things that are pretty head on that you maybe wouldn't see in like a Disney movie. Right?
Yeah, for sure.
So anyway, basically Moses kind of plays along with Zipporah kind of being there, but then you can kind of tell that moment in that scene, he like doesn't feel right about it. And eventually he helps her escape. Yeah. But he also did play a hand in kind of humiliating her in front of everybody. So I think he kind of felt a little bad about it. And I think his heart was more inclined towards God's heart naturally than maybe Ramses's was. So anyway, while he felt bad, he made a mistake. He helped her escape. And then while he helped her escape, he ran into Miriam and into Aaron. And Miriam was somebody who I think represents like that theme from Deliver Us, like somebody like the faith of a few people or like one person can really help the faith in other people. Yeah, because Aaron was more concerned about his own safety and his sister's safety,
maintaining the status quo if he had to.
Like he didn't want to make a Egyptian pharaoh upset, right? Because I mean that makes sense, right? Because you don't want your captors to be upset at you, right? Because your work will get worse, and you know, Miriam was able to see past that though, and like was clinging to that promise of deliverance. So
yeah,
Miriam, I think that's kind of the main function that her character serves. Is being kind of faithful and helpful to others, bringing in to faith as well. So, yeah, and not just like a religious faith in general, but also like faith that we will get out of this. You know? And that is a theme that is not as common nowadays in movies. I feel like everything's made such like a nihilistic push of, you know, nothing matters, just indulge yourself. This is kind of like, oh, I have faith in something greater than me. And I'm going to hold to that as my hope. Because if you think about it, if you are a slave, if you are oppressed, you don't really have that much control over yourself. But what gets you out of it is like hope for something better, right? So when you see the hope, when you see the opportunity, you take it. You know, I think that's kind of what Miriam knew. So yeah, I think that was a good scene. Their interaction. My initial thought was like Moses kind of everything happened so quick. I thought I think it like maybe is like a minor criticism I have is like Moses' turnaround from living for decades as an Egyptian prince is kind of like flipped around so quick.
Yeah.
After just like one day.
Yeah.
So I understand that could be like some people would watch that and be like, yeah, that wasn't like the most clean or fluid development of the character, but at least it's presented in a way that I think they at least put effort and attention into it. Even if because of the sake of chronicling large amounts of time in somebody's life, you know, you kind of have to, sometimes you have to consolidate things to a scene or two.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. And I feel like that can sometimes be not a byproduct, but just like kind of a result of certain musicals. Because I thought back, like once the movie was done, I kind of thought that like this had a lot of similarities to like a stage play. Like I feel like the way they told the story chronologically and like the progression of it felt almost as if it was kind of like is a memoir a right word? Like almost kind of just like paying homage to the Moses character and like the overall Exodus story is not meant to go super deep into all the details, but to like highlight those specific moments. Like that's kind of how I felt after the movie finished.
Yeah, because like even the plays, they're like done in a
song
montage sequence.
And him marrying Zipporah, like that whole progression, like that's done in the Heaven's Eyes. Yeah. So like if you pay attention, there's a lot of details in some songs in terms of like story.
Yes, it's a movie that I think really rewards you for going back to it and watching it.
Yeah.
So,
but that meetup, that kind of really kicks off the second act, doesn't it? Like,
yeah, I mean, that really plants the seed in his heart as like everything is not what I meant it to be or what I thought it was. And that's why he sings that song, All I Ever Wanted, which comes back several times throughout the movie. He thought that the life he was living of luxury in Egypt as a prince was all he ever wanted. But then he learns about how his people were being oppressed and like his father comes up to him and says, sometimes for the greater good, sacrifices are needed. And Moses was just not okay with that cold brutality. And there was a really, really great scene of him in dreaming. And how it was all done on the hieroglyphics.
I wanted to
incredible achievement in like animation and what they're able to do with that. Very inventive, and how it all kind of the artwork all kind of ended at like falling into the water with the crocodiles at the bottom, indicating like, oh yes, they were all thrown and killed essentially. And that actually comes back later. In something we can get back to, but that scene was really, really incredible. And I think that was also probably God like giving him a dream and saying, hey, you know, things aren't as you meant. Now it's your time. I'm calling you to something new. And then really what kicks off Act 2 is when he is walking around the, I don't know, somewhere in Egypt, and there's a lot of labor going on, and he tries to stop somebody from beating a slave, and then ends up like pushing him off the scaffolding or whatever, and he dies. So Moses ends up like committing a murder and like escapes from Egypt. And in that scene, you get a valuable character moment with him and Ramses. Ramses is like, did you not hear I've been named the regent? I've been named the new leader of Egypt. Like whatever you've done, you know, is forgotten with one word. Like I can just say one word and everything is forgotten and pardoned. If you just stay with us and return. But Moses says like, I just can't do that. Like what I've learned recently, you know, I just have to get away. And also, you know, the guilt of, you know, killing a man, you know, the guilt of humiliating that woman in front of everybody. You know, he's weighing on his own failures as well as just having his whole identity stripped from him. So he goes out and wanders in the desert, and that kind of kicks off Act 2. But yeah, it was a really, really loaded, packed full Act 1.
Yeah.
With 2 great songs, like I mentioned, All I Ever Wanted and Deliver Us.
Yeah.
Lots of really great moments in particular. And that's kind of what I don't want to spend too much time on Act 1, but I just think there's like so many great visual moments as well.
Yeah.
I can say one if you guys want to also give me yours. My favorite was when Ramses is talking to his father after the chariot racing scene at the beginning. And it really helps pave the way for his character, because you could see while they're talking in the background, you could see all of Egypt, and his dad is like lined up with a large statue of him.
Yeah.
And you could see almost how like he is such a domineering presence of fear, and Ramses is like almost cowering and afraid to like live up to that. Like he can't ever do it. So he feels like he maybe has to, adopt this kind of legacy that would change him.
Yeah.
Ultimately would. And just seeing the background of Egypt, it looks amazing. The art direction for all of these scenes, the concepts that really came to life, I think are incredible. I mean, cinematography in animated movies isn't something you always think about, but this one I think excels more so than most animated movies I've seen. And that was one scene in the first act that really stuck out.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah. I mean, I already mentioned mine, I think, with the old man and his hand in the sun. I think just that image, I don't know, looks cool.
Yeah.
Something about it. And I guess because it's also like he's like reaching out, like grasping, like it's like a desperate, and then somebody else picks him up. So there's like that hope there.
While the burning sun is beating down, the sun of suffering.
And then he pulls them up, but then they get pushed by a slave driver. So it's like, there's just a lot of contextual, maybe I'm just reading into it too much, but these are hand drawn, I feel like you spend a lot of time, the artists are spending a lot of time with what they're drawing. So they're probably thinking really hard about what they're presenting. So there's just a lot of those themes in just that little snippet, and it just looks really, and on top of that, it just looks pretty. I don't know, it's a pretty looking scene.
Yeah.
It's a very warm movie, which makes sense. It's in a desert and it's yellow and stuff, but it's a very warm. I love warm toned anything. I vibe with that.
But yeah, the color palette is amazing in this movie. Like a lot of oranges, like you were saying, a lot of purples, and they do a really good job of even like having it lean one way or the other in terms of how cool or warm the image is, depending on like where a character is in the set of the scene. And it can be even in the same shot too. Like there's a lot of layering in this movie that's like very apparent.
Like on Pharaoh's face during the plagues.
Yeah. And then like during the plagues, there's a scene where like Pharaoh walks into his what are they called? Hey, and what are their names? Like Steve Martin and Martin Short's characters.
Oh, it's like
Hui and
Hui.
I forget.
Hui and some other guy.
What were their titles? Like were they?
They're
like priests.
I think
that's right.
In the Bible, it calls them like magicians or.
Okay. So
clerics.
In the scene where they had the boils and they were trying to do stuff at the table, like cover it up or something, and Pharaoh walks in through like the very silky Egyptian curtains and like overthrows their table, you could just tell like, yes, that scene happened in the dark, but like the colors convey that too. Like how cool it was in that room of the overall palace. Like it was just really cool. But I'm glad you brought up the dream scene or the vision scene, because I think it being translated through hieroglyphics was so cool. And also it makes sense for the character. Like if God was to speak to Moses, like would he not try to speak to him in a way that Moses understands?
Yeah.
And obviously hieroglyphics is like a huge part of just Egyptian culture in general. And so like him growing up in that culture, that would make sense. And then the fact that when he wakes up, he then tries to search through the palace and he's like finding the exact hieroglyphs that he saw in his mind, because like he saw wherever they drew that out and wrote that out for like history's sake. He's like, oh man, like this is real. This is not just a vision. I thought that was really like cool. But yeah, I think the whole animation sequence, the whole dream sequence was computer animated. There was like we talked about this before we recorded, but there was a good mix of 2D and 3D animation in this movie. And that's an example where 3D was basically kind of the only prominent medium, because I think all of that was basically like a 3D generated or computer generated sequence.
Interesting.
I didn't know the dream sequence?
Mm-hmm. I'm pretty sure it was.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. Just by the looks of it.
I think the movie blends a lot of 2D, 3D together, so it can be hard to tell. But I know that we'll get to it later, but the parting of the water scenes is very heavy on the 3D.
Yeah, I love that scene.
Animation.
So
we will get to that. Cannot spoil it. Well, I mean,
spoil it. This movie's older than me.
We'll spoil it. The Bible has literally been around for thousands of years. So.
If you've read the story, you know.
Hopefully, you know the Exodus by
I read the book,
but
the book was better.
So it kind of goes into this Act 2 part where Moses is like discovering himself. Basically, he's trying to rebuild his life.
Yeah,
and he's trying to. Like his identity, like I mentioned earlier, was kind of stripped away from him. He's no longer a prince of Egypt. He's not an Egyptian. You know, he's just alone and wandering. He feels like he doesn't have a people. He was supposed to be dead. Like he wasn't supposed to be alive. So I think that kind of weighed on him. You know, so what it took was him going out into the desert and, you know, he finds, I think they're Midianites.
Yeah, Midianites.
Yeah.
Midianites. And Jethro, who is the man who is basically the patriarch of this nation of Midian, he takes Moses in and says, "You were kind to you helped my daughter." You know, his daughter is Zipporah. He helped his daughter escape from Egypt, even though he did play a part in like her humiliation. He still saw like the good in him, and. I think also when he gets there, like Moses helps, like fend off some like robbers or something.
From his younger daughters.
Yeah, so you know he could tell like this man is a man of God. Like he knew, like he sings the song called "Heaven," like "Look at Your Life Through Heaven's Eyes." I can't remember if that's the exact name of the title, but yeah, that theme of stop looking at your life through your own eyes, look at it through like God's eyes. And see, like, what does he see? Why has he called you to this? It kind of helps reframe Moses' way of thinking. It kind of turns his way of, like, desperation and isolation into, like, oh, I'm just part of a purpose of deliverance. You know, and I think that's really, in a lot of ways, like a very, very religious kind of way of thinking, which I think is one of the biggest differences, honestly, in how, like, say, a Christian would think than an atheist would think would be Christians don't view themselves as, like, my life is channeling through, like, my decisions. Or a Christian would view it like, yeah, God is the one that is the purpose that I'm working towards or, like, working for. Like that's what determines how I live, you know, whereas atheists are more, I guess, I mean, you can find purpose in other people. I'm not saying that you can't, but it's more of like I'm looking through my own mind. So I think that kind of is more of like a religious theme of accepting something greater than, you know, what you can't really see in front of you. Yeah. And this idea of like, you need to like look at this through a whole different lens and get yourself back on your feet because God's called you to something great. So that's kind of like what I got out of the main theme there. And I'm not trying to like rag on anyone's worldview, but I think that's kind of one of the moments in this movie where it feels like if you are religious, like you're probably going to appreciate it a little bit more, or at least you're going to find or connect with a deeper level of.
You'll be able to empathize.
You'll be able to empathize more deeply with some of the themes of the movie. So, But yeah, and also that song is also a banger. Incredible. Look at your life through heaven's eyes. Jethro's voiced by Danny Glover of Lethal Weapon fame. If you've ever seen the old Lethal Weapon movies, I haven't. But
No relation to Donald Glover.
if you know that one famous one-liner from Lethal Weapon, it's the one guy is like, "I have diplomatic immunity," and then he's like, "It's just been revoked." That was that was Danny Glover who said that. So
Old Danny G.
anyway, he's known for having that nice like bass baritone voice. You know,
Yeah.
he was kind of like I don't know. He's perfect for voice work.
Yeah.
And I don't think he sang the song. I think they got someone else, but whoever sang that song really killed it. Like that was an incredible performance. But anyway, yeah, it was kind of like a reboot moment. And the highlight scene though of Act 2, I guess, well, Act 2 is kind of big, but the one that really stuck out to me was when he sees God in the burning bush.
Yes.
So
Let's talk about it.
If you're not familiar with the Exodus story, Moses meets God, and he appears as a burning bush.
But the bush is not burned.
Yeah, the bush is not burned; it's just burning, which is pretty cool. And he tells him, "Take off your shoes," and you're in holy ground. So that whole scene was, I think, really incredible.
Yeah,
and maybe like I feel like that's one of those scenes where a lot of people will watch and like kind of look over it. Or like not think of it as, super impactful. But I think it's one of those that like you don't want to miss that scene. It's really important. The music underneath was perfect. So what were you guys what were your impressions of that moment?
I really liked. I think they set the atmosphere really good, because when he was telling him about how it's holy ground, and when you could just see the burning bush, like I just felt like it. I could feel the holiness. Like I could feel just how pure and like majestic this moment was and this scene was, and I could like picture myself just like getting on my knees, like bowing before God because of how holy ground it was. And I really like the shot of the rocks being like pushed away by these, I guess they were just like airwaves. Do you remember that when he says, "Take off your sandals, for this is holy ground"? Yeah. And then Moses looks at the ground and there's like pebbles like being pushed back.
Yeah.
Like just like the subtleties that they established in this scene was so cool. And man, it was awesome. And I think it was a good example of merging 2D and 3D work, because this isn't confirmed. I'm just going off of like what I observed and what I know, but it seemed like all of the burning elements and the like wispy air elements that resembled God's physical presence, I feel like that was done via 3D work. So like I think a really good merger of that. And then as he like picks Moses up and Moses is like in the air, talk about like quality 2D animation in terms of just showing motion in his clothing and his hair, just the way there's this atmosphere moving him, and all of this is so good. So good.
Yeah, I think it's not the only time in the Bible where God is like represented through like a flame.
Yeah.
We see another instance of that in this movie.
Yeah. Which I didn't even, I was like, that wasn't in the Bible, but it was. We talked about it before. But like, oh man, even in like descriptions of Jesus, there's elements of like fire or like burning or hot. And then descriptions of like the tabernacle and like within it and stuff like that. A whole lot of, it's all, I couldn't explain it to you, but other people have done it better than I can. But to me, it's just very powerful imagery, and to see it like animated, it's just like, I don't know how to describe it other than it's like, I don't know. It's like vindication. I don't know. It's just nice to see it come off of the page. It's like, I guess part of me as a believer is like wants to see things like that, right?
Yeah.
So I kind of live vicariously a little bit through the movie,
Yeah.
right? Because you read about it and you hear all these things and you're like, okay, do I really want to be in a situation where I have to deliver, like where I'm like enslaved or something and deliver them? Maybe, okay, not really, but it'd be nice if God came down in a pillar of flame or something. Like that'd be cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't know. That's just how I feel about it. I'm just like,
Yeah.
I don't know. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
It does.
No,
It does.
It was a very, very important scene. It's cool to see some of the most creative, artistic people try to conceptualize it and try to visualize it. Truthfully, we'll never know exactly what it looked like, but yeah, I mean, that certainly was a really, really striking visual scene. And I think what's cool about it too is the way they did the voice for God. So the most prominent voice you can hear is actually Val Kilmer's voice, who plays the voice of Moses. But actually what they had a lot of the major actors in it record all of God's lines in whispers. And that's kind of underneath Val Kilmer's. They needed a voice to sound a little bit more loud for clarity's sake.
Yeah.
So that's why they made Val Kilmer's. And he actually has the credit as God, I think, for the movie. But
In IMDb it says Moses/God.
yes, don't clip me out of context. I don't think, rest in peace, Val Kilmer. But I don't think Val Kilmer was God. But yeah, I thought that was cool how they just, I don't know, they had a lot of respect for the religious themes of the movie. Like they didn't want to like redefine the scriptures. They didn't want to change it. They wanted to honor it, and also tell a really good story and make a really good movie while they did it. So
That's pretty clever though what they did with the voice.
Yeah, that's really cool.
I like the idea is like, well, one person's voice can't really accomplish the voice of God, can it?
Yeah.
So
and the producers consulted over 600 different like religious experts from various like Jewish, I think Christian religion like experts. Yeah, so I mean, there was like a feedback from those experts after the movie was released said that the producers really did listen to their input. There are a few things in the movie that aren't 100% biblically accurate. Moses in the movie looks like he kind of accidentally killed that guy. Where in the Bible, it's like, no, he clearly like meant to do it. And then,
Moses was about that.
which we're about to talk about here also in Act 2, when Moses goes back to Pharaoh and, which I guess is a good segue, but yeah, Moses ends up going back to Pharaoh and performing all these plagues, or first it's a few signs and then it's like turns into the 10 plagues, because God's like, you're going to go and tell Ramesses to let my people go, let the Israelites out of Egypt. And if they don't, I'll bring plagues upon them. So basically he does that. Now in the Bible, Moses actually doesn't go himself. He goes with his brother Aaron, who is much better of a public speaker, but they made little changes like that.
Moses was a little shy in real life, apparently.
Yeah. Moses must have had some sort of public speaking fear, or I don't know, maybe he just had a speech impediment. I don't know. But anyway, so yeah, Moses goes back to Egypt. He knows it's his calling. He goes back and originally he just does a simple, I almost said trick. It's not a trick. He says, behold the power of God, right? And God turns his staff into a snake. The people that actually did the tricks were, I just looked it up, Hotep and Hui. Or Hui.
Hotep and
Hui. H-U-Y. I don't know how
Hui.
to pronounce that.
Hui.
Hotep and Hui.
Hotep is more easy to pronounce, but so they do the second song of the Act 2, which is, I think it's like you're with the big boys now. Or something.
Yeah.
So they
You're
do
playing
this,
with the big boys now.
playing with the big. That's definitely the goofiest song of the whole movie, but yeah, it's fun. I mean, it's just Steve Martin and Martin Short having fun, and
like they're
definitely good comic relief characters.
Yeah, and they're a great duo in general.
So basically, they're recreating all of the things that Moses is doing. But
what they don't,
it gets harder and harder to replicate though as the plagues go on. They can't like replicate fire falling from the sky and darkness going over everybody.
Yeah. What they don't recognize or address is they turn their sticks into snakes, but then they don't really notice, at least from what I gathered, the fact that Moses' snake ate their 2 snakes. Because like it showed that in the shadow, like the other 2 snakes went up to Moses' snake. Yeah. And like it cuts back and forth from them and the snakes, but you see from the light, the snake's shadows are casted on the wall. And when it cuts back to the snakes, Moses' snake is finishing swallowing the other 2 snakes. So like I thought that was really cool, but they never really addressed it. Like it's almost like that happened and nobody saw it. And I was like, what? Like that's so cool. Like that should have more like weight to it for the story moment.
Yeah, I missed it. So, but yeah, and I think it's important to bring up how Moses went back in with Ramses, their kind of interactions. Ramses was like, "Oh, welcome back. I'm glad you finally, got stuff figured out. Everything you've done is fine. It's forgiven. Come back, live with us as a prince of Egypt." But then he refuses, and he said, "No, actually, I came here to take my people back and let them go." And then Ramses really doesn't take that well at all, and I think that's kind of where his character starts to continue to spiral downward. Whereas Moses is spiraling in a good way, Ramses is going the other way, right?
Yeah.
So he doubles their work labor. Like that is in the Bible too. Like after the first plague, Pharaoh's actually like, don't give them any more time to do the work, but double the amount that they have to do, or increase the quota or whatever. So basically, the Jews then they get mad at Moses because he's like, well, what did you do? You went up there and now we have all this work.
They're like, what the heck did you do, man?
But then there's people like Zipporah and Miriam who continue to have faith and help bolster. They're even helping Moses because Moses is also kind of needs help and like confidence.
He felt bad. He was like, well.
He's like,
dang.
God spoke to me and like he told me to do this and it's not going the way I thought it was.
Ain't that the truth?
But Miriam's like, just hang in there. Zipporah's like, hang in there, keep going. And that's when you start seeing more plagues come in. You see things like frogs, and then the next song plays. It's called, I think it's just called "Let My People Go."
Yeah.
My sight,
yeah, and there's the choir in the background. That's it's a very, very good song. It's hard to sing along to because it's so fast and there's so many words. But it's like, I send my plague and my pestilence into this house, into this thing, into this, into this, into this, and they keep going over and over. It's a really, really driving momentum-based song. And how you start seeing Egypt gradually get more and more plagues come upon it, and they keep getting worse. Like there's locusts that come, there's frogs, not flogs.
Well, there are frogs. Just
there are flogs do exist, but they were not one of the 10 plagues. And eventually it goes to all darkness over the land. And then Pharaoh just has one last chance. And Moses approaches him and he says, this is your last chance. Like, think of your son. Like he points at his own firstborn son. And then his son is like standing right on that piece of hieroglyphics where the crocodiles were, and implying that he was going to die. And one really great line in the movie is when Pharaoh says, "There will be a cry in Egypt like you've never heard before," because he was threatening Moses at the time, but in reality, he was actually condemning his own people.
Yeah,
like there'd be a cry, because that's actually in the Bible. I don't know if Pharaoh says it. I think God says it or Moses says it. I could be wrong, but having Pharaoh say it in this context was tragic because he thought he was enacting his powers as Pharaoh, but in reality, he was talking about his own people and he didn't realize it. That was a really powerful moment. There's also one scene I forgot to mention. I feel like I'm talking a lot, guys. Sorry, but
no, you're good, dude. I'm looking up. So Yeah, it does say, "Then there shall be a great cry throughout all the land of Egypt, such as was not like it before, nor shall be like it again."
Who said that? I think that was.
It says
I think God told it to Moses, right?
Moses said it, and he said, "Thus says the Lord."
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I think he's saying it to. Who's he saying it to?
Probably Pharaoh.
Afterward, he'll let you go. I'm not quite sure. It just says that.
He's saying it about Egypt, or he's saying it to Pharaoh.
Yeah.
So anyway, having Ramses say that, I think.
Okay, he was talking to Pharaoh. I
Okay.
think.
Yeah, so they kind of did flip it. So hey, if you don't like the fact that they flipped it, I understand.
But it's very thematic.
I will
very,
say it's
yeah,
more dramatic. It's more.
Yeah.
It's very thematic for the movie that they had made.
foreshadowing.
Yeah.
So it was kind of powerful because the 10th plague, which was the worst one, right, is when all the firstborns of people in Egypt would die.
Unless you had lamb's blood on your dough.
Yeah, unless you put the lamb's blood on your door, which symbolizes the blood sacrifice that would atone for sins in the Old Testament.
You're spoiling. I didn't get that far.
Oh well, that is true. That did happen before they did all that, but technically it happened as early as Genesis when Adam and Eve get sent out of the garden, but God kills a lamb and gives them clothes. But anyway. That is blood covering sins is basically one of the biggest themes of the whole Bible.
Yep.
I mean, if you haven't heard of Jesus, he died.
He
blood
did
for
it.
the forgiveness of sins, right? Like that's. But anyway, so if you had the blood, you could put it over your doorway, and essentially judgment would pass over your household. That's why they call it the Passover festival in ancient Jewish tradition. So.
Yeah, and that's a really good scene when God's Spirit comes through.
Yeah.
And I don't know, it's like, yes, it's very scary for the receiving end. I understand the context. So it's very interesting to me when I watched the scene. There was a peace about it, because even the way the Spirit came through and took the firstborns, there was something very calm about it. It wasn't violent. It was just you heard not a whisper, you heard a breath, and then they were gone. And it's still unfortunate for the families of Egypt and whatnot. It's unfortunate that was brought upon them. So it was just a very interesting combo of this scene is very calm and quiet, even in the way they did the sound design.
Yeah, there's no score underneath it.
Yeah, but at the same time, there is an eeriness to it.
Yeah, and it's for those of you that know the story before you watch it, it's wow, this is what's coming. And you can kind of feel the dread.
Mm-hmm.
And I think when it's over. You do hear Israel cry out. You can hear the sound of all the screaming happen.
Yeah.
It's very, very sad. And then Moses talks to Pharaoh, and Pharaoh says, or he talks to Moses and he says, "You have my permission to take the Hebrews and go." So he finally relents. Mm-hmm. And instead of Moses leaving excited, he actually goes out the door and starts weeping, because just because of, so many things, just watching what happened to Egypt, his home, but also what happened to his, who he called brother, completely go on this downward spiral of, cruelty and, refusal, and his heart was hardened. That's what it says. So he's also mourning the loss, officially, finally mourning the loss of his brother, essentially. Yeah. We are not brothers anymore,
Yeah.
That's probably what hurt him the most. And so seeing him weep kind of was really I thought that was a really good moment for the movie. I thought that was a good choice. it stayed focused on their relationship together. It didn't just, the relationship didn't just end at the end of Act 1. It kept going, and, there was hope. And there was one scene in particular in Act 2 where Moses is explaining everything to Pharaoh, to Ramses. He's like, I had an encounter with God, and now my mission is to, get my people free from Egypt, and he's basically rejecting coming back to become a prince of Egypt, and seeing it really focuses on Pharaoh's face while Moses is telling him that. And there's so much detail with the animation on his face. It's incredible. I haven't seen anything in another animated movie that is so like captured a moment like this, where it's just showing Pharaoh's face reaction, and you can see the subtleties on his face change from like confusion to like heartbreak to maybe even parts of like hope of like, okay, we can work this out. But then you could see it slowly turn into like anger.
Yeah.
You could really see the moment where, he kind of like opens his eyes, like he's gone. Like, I think that was the end. Like he's like, Moses is no longer his brother. He needs to do what he needs to do. And it wasn't because he thought he was doing what was best. It was because he was trying to not be the weak link. He was trying to become strong. And ultimately that character motivation was what won out for him in the end, instead of reconciliation with Moses. So that scene in particular was incredibly animated. I don't like the detail they do in a 2D drawing phase of slightly changing frame by frame. Was incredible. So.
Yeah. I like that you brought up the moment where Moses went out and cried, because I think that was probably one of, if not the like favorite moment for his character for me. And it just goes back to like all that you said, Wesley. But then I also thought about how he's probably feeling so much grief because, one, he found out, it's kind of like, I don't know if irony is the right word, but he was just a part of bringing something to fruition that was the reason for him leaving Egypt. Like, the killing of all the firstborns. That's how he found out. Like, he found that out, that Pharaoh did that to his people. And now realizing that he was kind of the leading drive of making that happen for the people that he grew up with. And like, I feel like just it showed there was like a lot of conflicting emotions in him. I feel like maybe in that scene where like he wanted to do what God told him to do, but he was like grieving the reality that it came to, and so I just think that was like a really good moment for him, and like it was animated well, and even like the crying, like the voice acting for that was really good.
I think for me, that moment, it was him like grieving like being pushed to do that. Like even in the song, he's like, we don't have to, like, it doesn't have to be this way, you can just let us go. What are the exact lyrics? It's like stubborn. It's like
your stubbornness and pride. You've seen innocent people die or something.
And it's just like,
or suffer. I don't know
it's
die,
like,
but he said suffer.
I don't know. And when he's talking to him, like about to unleash the 10th plague, and like we know it because we've read it before, but also like Moses knows it too, and it's like that. I don't know. This idea of like forbidden knowledge. I don't know. It's just weird feeling of like or foreboding knowledge, or like cursed, like cursed to know something terrible is going to happen, and not really being able to prevent it, even though you're kind of the one causing it, but not really. It's like it's Pharaoh. But I agree with you. It's like this conflicting. It's like, yes, he's the one bringing about the same thing that put him in the situation he's in. So like, how does that even feel? I mean, we don't know. The Bible doesn't really go into it too much about Moses's like deep thoughts. Moses didn't really bother to write all that down, but
he was too busy.
So it's fun to kind of, I guess, as humans, I guess, try to empathize with what he might have been feeling.
Yeah.
And it comes to that crying moment. And I mean,
Yeah.
I don't claim to know what Moses was actually thinking, but I have to imagine, since he was a person like all of us, it was really like difficult.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not like this kind of 2-dimensional, yay, we're free, let's go. It's like,
Yeah, like
no,
I
there's
can't
more
imagine he
levels
was
to
like
it.
just happy. He's like, all right, we're done. He surely was like
Yeah.
probably like really upset or he might have even cried. Like I don't know. Does it say that? It doesn't say that in the Bible, does it? That he cried.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
No, I think that was
I don't
more
think
of a
it's
dramatic
just kinda like-
interpretation.
And then they were gone. And then they go to the Red Sea.
Yeah, and I think it's important to point out how good like Ray Fiennes in particular was in this movie. Voicing, like, there's not a lot of animated movies where it feels like the voice actors are, giving it 100%. A lot of times animated movies will just hire famous people just to slap them on the poster.
Chris Pratt.
And they just kind of go in and talk in a microphone. Like, I think Ray Fiennes really goes all out as Ramses, and seeing him as a tragic character. I mean, Val Kilmer was good, but in my opinion, Ray Fiennes was a standout.
Yeah.
Some of the other stars that were in it, like Jeff Goldblum and Sandra Bullock, those are definitely more supporting characters. Michelle Pfeiffer, great. They did fine with what they did, but they didn't have quite the material that Val Kilmer and Ray Fiennes had. I think both of them did incredible, especially in that kind of like beginning of the third act where you see the plagues happen and you see their relationship at its tensest moments and how they break apart. Just incredible stuff. And Val Kilmer, I think, sang All I Ever Wanted. I think he did a good job. Ray Fiennes sings a little bit in the reprise of it, and hey, he did it.
He's bald.
But and the music in this movie is just so good.
Yeah.
It is so good. It's like one of the best musicals, like music and musicals that I've ever seen.
So like we talked about it earlier, but does Hans Zimmer does he write the lyrics too, or did he just like compose it and then somebody else wrote the lyrics? Can we figure that out? Is this
we can figure
a
that
figure
out.
outable question?
We can figure that
Sure
out.
it is.
Is there an answer to my question? Is there a question to your answer?
Prince of Egypt.
Prancer and Dancer and Donner and Blitzen.
Yeah. Wow.
So Steven Schwartz wrote the original songs, and Hans Zimmer provided the score.
Epic.
Steven
An
Schwartz.
epic duo of
So
epic proportions.
Hans scorer.
yeah, I think this is one of my favorite scores at a movie.
Really?
Oh, wow.
It's just,
Of all time.
and I mean, as far as a musical goes, like, I think this is my favorite musical of all time. Personally, I'm not claiming to be a musical expert, especially when it comes to
Music degree, by the way.
my wife would be way better at doing a list like that. Or
Again,
ranking.
music degree, by the way.
I have a music degree, but we studied like German opera and Italian opera. We didn't study Newsies in music school.
You studied.
Not that I don't think you should. I think music schools should teach modern music, which the one that I did, we had 1 semester of modern music and like 4 semesters of, everything else before that. So, hey, I agree with that sentiment, but hey, that's not.
I mean,
the
at some
reality.
point, when is it not considered modern music? Like,
I'd say anything post like
1930s.
the way they would define it would be early 1900s. Yeah. When there was a
Like
shift,
jazz. Jazz is probably like the first like modern quote unquote sound.
when there was a shift away from like, what is it? Like the impressionist stuff.
I get you.
I don't know.
Gotcha.
Anyway,
I don't know anything
I
about
forgot what
music.
we were talking about.
You were talking about the best score, but you said you weren't a musician.
It's one of my favorite scores. Definitely my favorite musical of all time. And the third act, after Moses weeps, and
Jesus wept.
Jesus wept too. That's a different story. I mean, hey, Christians believe that Moses was kind of a foreshadower of Jesus and what he did. So
That's what Christians believe.
yeah. So then I'm just going to keep trucking along here. So yeah, then we start singing the song that Miriam sings and Zipporah sing together the duet. There Can Be Miracles. So that's a classic. Actually, in the credits, you hear Whitney Houston and Mariah Carey.
They do a rendition of it, don't
which
they?
is so like those are like the two of the greatest female singers of all time.
Definitely of 1998.
Collabing. 1998. Oh yeah, that was like Mariah Carey was way up here in popularity.
So was Whitney Houston.
Whitney Houston. Yeah. They collaborated on this. Incredible stuff.
It's funny because
best duo ever.
When the credits were rolling, like we just came from all of this Egyptian themed, periodic themed music and visuals, and then like their version has more like R&B feel to it, and like I was like, whoa, what's this? You hear like a ooh.
It's performed by Michelle Pfeiffer and a substitute for Sandra Bullock.
Sandra Bullock can't sing.
I don't think she sang for the movie, but Michelle Pfeiffer did. They sing it in the movie, but in the credits you hear the Mariah Carey.
Yeah. If I'm ever an actor, and then if I'm ever in a musical, I'm singing my own lines.
Let's go.
That one's clearly like the most popular song of the movie, but it's, if I'm going to be honest, it's probably like my least favorite one.
Really?
I think it's just a little bit too on the corny side of things. Like, I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't be criticized. I like the song, but it's like, it feels like it dumbs down the themes that are actually kind of complex in the movie.
I get what you're saying.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It makes it seem like a little corny and cheesy, but
we're in Sunday school, folks.
Anyway, but it is true. Like Miriam and Zipporah are two of the characters that are really telling you about the concept of faith. Like they're the two biggest faith characters, I guess, in the movie.
They're the anchors.
And, you would think it'd be Moses, but Moses goes through so much character transformation. He's not always in that spot.
Moses had to be confronted by a burning bush.
Yeah.
Zipporah ain't need all that.
And also his sister. Yeah. And so they start singing the song. So after Moses weeps, then there's the hope that comes out. It's like, okay, now we can leave. So they start leaving. And they sing this nice song. I do like how they incorporated Hebrew lyrics into it.
Yes.
With the
Agreed.
kids singing. It felt like this is a community of people with a vibrant culture. And you kind of finally got to see them express themselves in a hopeful way. So that's what I did like about the song.
That's a good point.
Whereas at the beginning, it was more like, deliver us, our life is terrible.
Yeah.
So it was kind of a nice turnaround, but I will say that the lyrics were kind of cheesy.
I hear you.
They did originally, it used to be there will be miracles, but then they changed it to there can be, because I think they wanted to respect like the idea of like, just because you want something to happen doesn't always happen the way you think. So it's like, there can be miracles when you believe. I don't know.
Interesting.
They did change the lyrics a little bit.
Interesting.
But yeah, and then of course the famous scene of the Egyptians
So good.
chasing after him. Pharaoh in his anger and rage isn't done yet. He goes, chases after the Hebrew people, and they're right in front of the Red Sea, and they're trapped. The soldiers on one side, the sea on the other. And Moses goes up, and he's like, you know what? I'm going to part the Red Sea. I think God said something. I can't even remember. I feel like he said...
in the movie or in the Bible?
Yeah, in the movie, he said something to him while he was doing it.
He felt led to walk in the water and use his staff, and then that's when God said, "With this staff, I will do wonders."
Yes, that's what it was. And then the waters part, but the people are actually afraid. Like they don't want to go in there. But who goes in there first? It's our guy, Aaron.
So
Aaron was one of those guys at the beginning. It was a nice character moment for him because he was originally he didn't have faith like his sister. He's like he just wanted to follow the rules, make sure we got out here alive. But now he's the one walking boldly and saying, "I'm going to walk out there." And of course, in the Bible, he was a very important character. He was the first high priest of Israel. So, yeah, I mean, he's very, very important. So it was kind of good to see him get that little character arc there.
Little character mo.
It was good.
But the parting of the Red Sea was an incredible scene.
It was.
Creative.
It took them. I just read this trivia. It said 10 animators took 2 years to work on that.
Oh, so they were working on that movie since 1990, 6?
Yeah, it took them 2 years to finish that scene. Because a lot of it is 3D rendering. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I imagine rendering it took a long time in 1998 or whatever.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Probably.
And just all the
giant
details
server
with the
farms.
different waves and how they interact with the rocks under the sea. And
Yeah.
there's different hills. There's different characters coming in. And so, and in that moment, you hear Moses and Ramsey, like Ramsey's just crying out to Moses. Yeah, it's a really powerful scene. And
It is.
of course, if you didn't know already, the Israelites get all the way across, and then the Egyptians chase after them, but God closes the waters on top of the Egyptians until they're wiped out. And Pharaoh's left on the other side of the Red Sea saying, Moses! And then that's kind of the end of his character.
Yeah.
And there's one final scene where I think it's just kind of like a reprise of a lot of the music. Deliver Us, I think,
Yeah.
comes back at the end.
Yeah.
Because now they're going to be delivered. They're looking forward to future deliverance. So
Out of the wilderness.
and he's holding the 10 Commandments.
Yeah.
It's a really incredible movie. But yeah, what were your thoughts on that kind of like final sequence with the Red Sea and everything?
You want to go first?
Yeah, I mean, dude, it's probably, if there's a highlight of the movie, it's probably that scene. I don't know. It's like it's one of the most popular like biblical moments.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what else is there to really say about it. It's just really cool.
Yeah.
It's really beautiful looking. It's what you're kind of waiting for as somebody who's like already read the Bible. It's like, can we get to the cool part? The plagues was a cool part too, I guess. But like for me, the coolest part was them walking through the sea. And I mean, I like violence, so all the Egyptian soldiers getting swept up in the water. It's like
I like violence. Jason Solomon.
I just like the I don't know. It's like your hubris got you again, Pharaoh. You would have been fine. You could have just let it go. Oh no, you have to pay people to do some work now or whatever. But no, I will drown 10,000 soldiers. I don't know how soldiers die. I will drown 10,000 of my finest men in chariot weapons.
Yeah. I really liked right when Moses, it's such a good buildup, and it's like such a good beginning of a scene when like Moses raises his staff and then, comes down with velocity, just puts it in the water, and like it cuts to that wide shot looking down at him. And just like the way the water just repels is so cool. Like the momentum that just comes from the power of God is like amazing. Plus the score that like rises with it is just so good. And man, like goosebumps for sure. And even with the way the water came back down, like they just did it very artistically. Cause like you saw that shot looking up at the walls of water, and like from the top, it's starting to trickle down. And it's like, oh, this is so cool looking, like the way they're delivering it. Yeah. But man, I think outside of that, like my favorite shot that I would consider like pausing and printing out and framing is when they're the whole movie. Honestly, yeah, the whole movie. Oh, dude,
every frame of painting.
Oh, shout out a YouTube channel. Anyways, it's when it's like it's a lateral shot, I guess, if that's what you want to call it, but it's straight on looking at the wall of water, and the Hebrews are walking left to right, and the lightning strikes, and you see the whale and like the other sea animals or sea creatures swimming in the water, and like the lightning illuminates them. Oh my goodness. Like I just felt there was like such a peace in that moment, but like at the same time, there's this peace and covering over the Hebrews because God's making a way. You're like witnessing his majestic creation and just like how powerful just he is. And it's like, man, you guys are walking beside a whale or like whatever it was on the other side of the water. It's just like such a cool visual, and the sound design and just like all of it was amazing.
Not completely random, but slightly random. Do you ever think of I think it's Bruce Almighty, or is it Evan Almighty?
With the one with
Jim Carrey.
Jim Carrey, that's Bruce.
Bruce Almighty, where he splits his tomato soup.
I remember that.
I was thinking about that. It's just he's like, and it's like really windy in the restaurant he's in, or whatever. And he parts his soup. I don't know.
That's
The
funny.
greatest use of God powers.
My tomato soup.
I mean, I think that last act just culminates just all these major themes in the movie so well. And, you know, the idea of identity and belonging, of like your cultural upbringing versus, you know, what, you know, is your actual like cultural belonging.
Yeah.
And I think Moses kind of endures that. His cultural upbringing didn't define him, whereas Ramses is dead in the end. And, you know, that theme of like responsibility and power, right? Like both of them also experience positions where they're in charge of something. And the way Moses handles it is the good way, right? The leading your people to freedom, whereas Ramses was like, tighten your fist and you know, bear down on an oppression. It's about strength. And like Patrick Stewart's king character, what's his name? Seti or Sefti or something
like that.
He said, you know, sacrifices are required for the common good. And that's something that that Moses didn't want to do and didn't really sacrifice his people for that. But you know, Ramses did.
Yeah.
And then you learn like what is the common good anyway. Like he didn't even have a good understanding of that. So how that power and weight of power and responsibility comes to a head in the very last scene of how he's just so blinded by zeal and anger and like his appearance of strength that he gets all of his soldiers killed. And
he also humiliates himself, like right as he starts to charge into the sea, like between the waves of water. Yeah. Like he pretty much almost immediately gets thrown off his chariot and like that's done. Yeah. And he gets like washed back. And so it's like with all of the might that he's trying to show, like dude, you're just a rag doll, bro.
Yeah. And Moses like was a good example of power and responsibility, right? Like he used his power to inspire others to faith, you know, of obedience. You know, he obeyed God, right?
Yeah.
Submitted himself. He humbled himself and believed in something greater than himself. So I think that was a distinct difference, you know, and there's this idea of the main religious theme, I think, is like the divine, what's the word? Agency, like your, like versus human agency. It's like who should seize the moment, and like Moses allowed God, you know, to guide the way rather than man, whereas Ramses was so fueled by his own interests. So, it's like I think the film does have religious themes. Like I would call it like a pro, like Christian or Jew. I guess it's probably more Christian movie, because it's like a big theme you can take out of that is like faith in God provides freedom. You know, I think that's a big theme of that story. And you can't really take that theme out of the story. So that was really important. And just like we mentioned, the brotherhood aspect, the tragedy. I think that all of those themes kind of come to a head at the big old. This is my impression of the Red Sea part of it.
I like
this is
that.
one side and this is the other side. So anyway, it's an incredible movie overall. I mean, if I had any criticisms, I would say that one song was a little cheesy.
Cheesy song.
I feel like it dumbed down the story a little bit, but not really. I mean, it's not that big of a deal.
Quit simplifying my themes.
It's still a really catchy song, and I like it. But
in
the context of the movie, like something so heavy just happened right before it, and then we're kind of having this very basic song.
What did you think about Miriam singing the song that her mom sang to Moses before she put him in the river, and that like igniting the memory for him? Because up until that point, everything she was saying was not resonating with him. And he was like, I don't know what you're talking about. Like you dare not speak like this to me, a prince of Egypt. And then she started singing that song as he walked away. And then that like evidently sparked something in him. So like, do you think with how little he was, I mean, I could be reading too much into it, but for me, when she sang that song and he started to like, I guess, remember or just like feel something, I was kind of questioning if that was like, oh, really? Like, is that how we're going to kind of like spark things here?
I guess it must have, I think Moses must have recalled it as a baby, like hearing the song.
Yeah.
You know, because his sister followed him at the beginning to where, you know, she got let go and she was singing that da 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 da, that song. And that's the one that she sings that. And you can actually hear Moses humming that at the beginning.
Oh, really?
After he meets with, or after Ramses like meets with his father for the first time and Moses walks to go meet him, I think he's humming that song. So
it's when like
or at some point, I can't remember, it might not have been that scene, it might have been a later scene, but
oh snap.
So I think he must have, it doesn't really tell you explicitly, but he must have like remembered that song somehow.
Yeah.
Subconsciously.
It is a little bit wishy-washy, I guess, of an execution there, but I agree. Like I mentioned earlier, I think that all that happened like kind of fast.
Yeah.
With the confrontation, like why would you just believe some random Hebrew slave, you know? But at the end of the day, they had to move the plot forward, and that's the way they chose to do it. So
yeah,
yeah, I would say that that's a valid criticism of the movie. So, but I think the goods far outweigh any minor criticisms.
for sure.
You know, I think the music, the storytelling, the performances, the animation it's all incredible.
Yeah.
And you'd be hard pressed to find very many like better animated movies, I think. I mean, you might be able to find a few, but like this is definitely an incredible gem of a movie that I feel like people don't really talk about anymore. But I feel like all of us kind of vaguely remember as kids.
Yeah.
You know, and I definitely recommend a rewatch.
Yeah.
So we can get into rating this thing.
Oh snap! Yeah, that's right.
RATING.
If you guys would like, we can get into rating it. Unless there's any final thoughts.
Movie good.
Movie good.
Jason has now resorted to
Movie pretty.
using only words that are necessary. Movie good, movie pretty.
Movie fun. Movie.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that was very profound and insightful. Thank you.
Be still, Jason speaks.
Quiet, Jason speaks.
Oh yeah, is that what they say? Quiet, Pharaoh speaks.
Well, Jason, speak your rating. How about that?
Wow, my name is Wesley. I'm sorry. I might be slightly biased, you know, as a believer. So, like, yeah, you bring up a good point, Asher, and I don't know if I agree, like, with like it being the worst song in the movie, but I definitely think it's a interestingly placed song. I am definitely like, and I guess also like Hotep and Hui. You know, those characters in the Bible are like evil magician wizard dudes. And here they're just like bumbling idiots.
Comic relief.
Which is funny. Like, don't get me wrong. I'm like, oh, this is funny. I'm laughing at them. But at the same time, I'm like, these guys are kind of like awful people in the Bible. And here they're just kind of like, because I think in the Bible, like in the movie, it's more like, oh, it's subterfuge and tricks. I think in the Bible, I mean,
it is like that. It says like the Pharaoh was able to get his magicians to like replicate some of the things that Moses was doing.
But I want to like,
that's kind of like what,
because there's like evil magic in the Bible.
Yeah.
That happens.
I don't know if
that's
what they're doing. I think they were doing like sleight of hand. They were doing
they were just
simple charlatan type tricks,
hiding snakes in their boots and all that.
Yeah.
Because when they did, not to go off on a tangent, but when they did turn their snakes into their sticks into snakes, they did like some kind of smoke bomb or something, and you didn't see the transition. Like the camera or like the frame went white or black from the light flashing or something, and then you just see them holding something else.
All I know is like, did they really just have snakes on hand ready for a guy to turn his staff into a snake so they could be like, well, I could do that too. That's just
Ramses is like, Hotep, Hui, let's show Moses our answer. And then they're like, yes, finally we get to do the snake.
It's just, to me, it's like such a random like test. It's like God's like, here, your staff's get turned to a snake, and the Pharaoh's just like, actually, I was prepared for this. I was prepared for this. No, but so like, anyways.
So basically, there's a lot of, I just looked up, there's a lot of debate whether the biblical magicians were like using occult practices or actually like just sleight of hand. There's not really a consensus.
It might be both. I don't know.
Yeah.
My point is like,
you could like paralyze a snake to make it rigid and then, you know.
Yeah. So I don't know if like, I don't know how I feel entirely about them being like comedic characters. It works for the movie and it's funny. So I don't, you know, it's just like, well, where am I going with it? I don't know. It's 9 out of 10.
9 out of 10?
9 out of 10. I like it too much. Like I said, I'm biased.
Well, I like it.
I'm allowed to like the what?
I said I like it 3 much. You said you like it 2
Oh,
much.
I don't know what I thought he said, but yeah, 9 out of 10. I don't care. It does have some issues. It's not actually a perfect movie. Do I think there's more well-made films out there? Yeah, maybe. But this movie's also like really airtight for the most part, and especially in the animation and the performance department. Like you can't really get much better than what we get here.
Yeah.
Like find me perform. I don't know. What's his name? And There Will Be Blood. My boy. I've abandoned my
Daniel
boy.
Day-Lewis.
Daniel Day-Lewis.
Okay, well, that's not even a fair comparison.
It's like I started thinking. I started like, well, I don't even think that's the best part in that movie. By the way, I think it's
like
the ending when he's talking with.
It's a voice performance versus live action performance too. It's
I don't remember Val Kilmer going, "I've abandoned my boy." That didn't happen, so it's hard to compare.
You do hear him say, "Let my people go."
Yeah, but my boy, I've abandoned my boy. Or my child. It's my child, isn't it? I've abandoned my child.
Have you seen those acting compilations, like the greatest acting of all time?
And it's just people yelling.
It's just people like yelling.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't even think that's the best scene in the movie. I don't think it's the best acted scene in the movie. The best acted scene in the movie is literally the ending when he's talking to Eli in his mansion, where it all comes to fruition. It's just like, we're not talking about that.
What are you doing?
I love how you cut yourself off, Jason. You're like,
We're not talking about There Will Be Blood.
All right. Well,
there was blood though. And
There wasn't even that much blood in that movie. Oh, yeah, there was a lot of blood.
there will be blood if you don't stop talking about.
And there will
blood.
be.
I'm sorry.
And there will be.
I thought this was a movie podcast,
That's
Wesley.
what Moses
I thought
said before he turned the Nile into blood.
There will be blood. You think the other Egyptians knew he was making a reference?
They were like, I get it.
I get
Daniel
That movie didn't
Day-Lewis.
come out until like 10 years after the Prince of Egypt.
It's like Daniel Day-Lewis. Yeah. I got
or a few thousand years after the actual event.
Anyway, all right, let's move on. I've already talked about the movie a bunch. 9.5 out of 10.
What?
9.5 for me. It's one of my top maybe like 20 movies of all time.
Top 20 movies of all time. Go ahead and list them.
Oh, well,
Wrong.
Sorry, I can't put Interstellar 20 times, Jason. I love that movie.
Hey, what do you got against it? There's the cloud.
I don't.
You always bring up the cloud scene.
Frozen Cloud.
Frozen cloud. For some reason, you're like, it's dumb. You're dumb.
I think the Frozen Cloud is cool.
It is cool. Anyways,
You would have to watch our very first episode of On the
You actually
Slate
don't
to
have,
understand.
You don't actually have to watch it.
to understand why we laugh about it. All right. Anyway,
Does Asher have a word?
Asher word rating.
Word sure.
from only like 5 minutes of thinking about it, because honestly, like ratings went out my head. I was like, you said ratings. I was like, oh yeah, we do that.
We talk about movies.
Where am I? I'm going to give it a bold out of 10.
Bold.
Bold for,
Have you given a bold before?
I hope not. I got to,
What's a hope not?
Wow.
Um,
Wow.
a bullet out of 10 because one, the like how I mentioned earlier, with it being still a family film, they didn't shy away from the themes and the story elements. Like, yeah, there was genocide. Yeah, there was, can you consider that genocide? Like just killing all of the firstborns?
Oh yeah.
I'd say
Systematic destruction.
I'd say that's
Yeah.
of a particular people. Yeah.
Yeah. And then
there's two of them.
And then, yes, there was a second time where like the firstborn were killed, and then I don't know, yeah, and then just even other themes like slavery and like how they depicted slavery. Like they didn't sugarcoat slavery, and I think they did a really good job of the opening sequence of really depicting the struggles, and then. Bold just with like the visuals too, like such good visuals. Like I mentioned earlier that so many frames could be paused and framed because of just how good they were. The color palettes, the paintings for like the backgrounds, and even some of the elements like statues and some of the architecture, like just the mixed media came together, I think, really nicely. And we said it off recording, but the 3D animation sometimes shows its age with the development it was at in the mid 90s to late 90s. But I think like for the most part, it's still merged together like really well.
And I don't doubt at all that movie really pushed the boundary, especially with that final parting the sea. I imagine that really pushed the medium forward a good bit with what they were able to accomplish. So I mean, I wouldn't even hold that against the movie, really.
Yeah.
Envelope pushers.
If you notice, some of the objects are like 3D objects and not 2D animated. So like Moses's basket, that was like a 3D generated object. When he's holding the 10 Commandment tablets at the end, like those were 3D animated objects.
Yeah, it was a very busy movie, I think, with a lot of animations. Like you mentioned that Moses basket, like how it was going between the boats and all the oars.
Yeah.
Like there's so much going on, and how it's a very, very detailed movie. And I think like I don't think there's a whole lot of animated movies that put as much attention to detail to what they're doing in this one. It was like, I don't know, if you just watch any mainstream animated movie, like, yeah, it looks good, but it's like there's not a lot of striking imagery, and there's not a lot of stuff that sticks with you a lot of the time. I feel like a lot of it's like, push these things out so we can make $1 billion, because kids movies make a lot. And even with Pixar stuff, like, as good as those movies are, I don't know if I've seen an animated movie other than maybe some like Miyazaki ones that have like so much attention to every single frame and like intentionally wanting to make memorable imagery, memorable backdrops, iconic, cinematography, things like that.
I would say the Spider-Verse would be a good recent example of kind of carrying that spirit that you're talking about.
The effort.
And I think what Prince of Egypt does really well is it feels big. It feels like a big movie.
It's an animated epic.
If you will.
It reminds me of like those old movies like Ben-Hur.
Yes.
Or, like Spartacus or
those, Odyssey.
Yeah, like
July 2026.
Old classical epic movies. Like that's what it feels like.
Or the 10 Commandments.
Or the 10 Commandments. There we go.
Which that's a technological advancement too, that movie.
So
with the Red Sea parting.
It's not, and it doesn't shy away from the spectacle, but the spectacle aids the storytelling a lot. So anyway,
did you want to? You recently played around with giving numbers to movies. Is that something you want to do for this one too?
I think I might just leave that
bold
as that. Yeah,
that bold.
I like giving. I like giving words.
Will you do a Letterboxd? Are you gonna write about it on Letterboxd?
I don't know. I haven't been on top of my Letterboxd game lately.
That's why I'm talking to you.
on recording.
I need to. I like reading reviews, Wesley. I like reading reviews.
Okay. Well, before we do that, this movie had 2 Academy Award nominations.
Let me guess.
And I want y'all to guess which ones they were.
Best animated movie.
Okay, so Best Animated Movie was not an Academy Award until like 2002 or 2003. So this would not qualify.
So
for
best score. And has an animated movie ever won best lead performance? Are there performance awards related specifically to animated movies?
No, animated movies are not eligible for acting awards.
That's so stupid. Can I?
They wouldn't even give a nomination to Andy Serkis for Gollum, like because they said they campaigned hard for it, and they were like, "No, it's not eligible. He doesn't. It's just animated."
He's literally physically acting in that movie too.
I am with you. Everybody in the world, except for the Academy, is with you on that. But
your days are numbered, Academy.
There will be blood.
There will be blood.
Okay, so
I'm gonna say best visual effects and best soundtrack.
I'm gonna go with best score, and I don't know what applies to animated movies. Best score.
You're thinking of the most worthless Oscar. You're missing it. You got to think of it. What is the most every year the Academy Award that means the least that they only give out to famous people?
Best original song.
Yes. it's their excuse to give an Oscar to famous people. That's why Billie Eilish has like 2 of them.
When you said that, I
Adele
was like, wait a second. What are the most annoying Oscars I've seen? Like Oscar wins. It's like it's all those artists who don't even aren't even the movies. That's like good sense.
To me, it's like I like songs. Like I like music. Mm-hmm. But I just think it's like the weirdest Academy
Award. Go win a Grammy or something. I don't know.
Like if I think it's just they want to invite people like Rihanna and like Billie Eilish to the Oscars for fun.
My only pushback to that though is like they're contributing a song to the movie though, and it in some level enhances the film.
I think it works. It works when you have a really competitive market of like musicals out there
or like
year after year, but we don't get musicals like we used to. We used to get American history and cinema as a lot of musicals, but they kind of tapered off after a while, so we don't really get them as much. And I feel like that's why that award originally existed, and now it's not. It's just like you have a song in the credits that plays that Taylor Swift wrote or whatever, so you can give her an Oscar nomination.
Side tangent, sort of, but Wreck-It Ralph.
Yeah,
from 2012. Ooh. The movie was marketed with this song by Fun, which was like my favorite band when I was 12. And I was so excited. And that song does not play once in the movie.
Not even in the credits?
I don't remember if it's in the credits.
Is it the When Can I See You Again?
I don't even know what song it was anymore, dude.
That was Owl City.
That was literally like 13 or 14 years ago for me. But my point is like it's in all the marketing.
Yeah.
And then the movie comes out and it's not played once in the movie. I don't know if they could win.
It'll be like the second song in the credits or something.
Half the people already walked out.
I feel like if you're going to market a movie heavy with a song, it has to be in the movie. That's just me. That's just a Jason. No, that's actually that's an objective role.
I think it's a good award for like movies that heavily feature original music, like musicals, for instance.
Well, what about like the James Bond movies? Because the opening to every James Bond has a unique song.
Yeah, that has a history and culture of like James Bond movies having a song.
Yeah.
But I mean, when you get in like, okay, nobody listened to the song. But you just wanted to give Rihanna an Oscar nomination. Like that.
I like Rihanna.
I like Rihanna too. I'm not trying to hate. I'm just like, is this movie actually like, is this song making the movie better?
Yeah.
Are people even listening to it? But anyway, yes. When You Believe, the one that we were kind of saying was not quite as good as the others, won the Oscar for Best Original Song.
Okay. Wow.
Stephen Schwartz. And it also got a nominee for Best Music, Original Music, or Comedy Score. So I guess they must have had like 2 different Best Score.
Those only nominated
categories.
For that? You said it won 2 awards.
It was nominated for 2, and it won 1.
Comedy.
So I guess they must have split it between like drama score and comedy score or something.
They put them in the same category.
Blink, blink,
I guess so.
Blink,
I guess
blink,
they combined it all
blink.
Eventually, but they must have used to have split it up. But anyway, it did not win that. I don't know who won. But. Anyway,
1999 was wild.
It was.
Wait, this came out in 98, right?
98. Yeah, but it was the 99.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, true. Well, cool, fellas. I think that's a good place to put a bookend in it. It was a
Cool
great
fellas.
conversation.
Fresh Prince of Egypt.
Fresh Prince of Egypt. That should have been in the movie. Anyway, so make sure you follow us on YouTube, Spotify, Instagram, Apple. TikTok. And it's been a great show, great movie. I'm glad we all got to enjoy it and talk about it. And we'll be back with another episode soon. So we have been your hosts, Wesley,
Jason,
and Asher.
And this is the On the Slate Movie Podcast. Have a great day and God bless.